Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I give you the opportunity to test your comic book grading skills up against actual results from CGC. Today's video is part 5 in the series that I am doing featuring my good friend Octavio's submission to CGC. He had a lot of books come back all at once, and he's provided a lot of great content for the channel, so thank you very much, Octavio. Now, it's been a while since you've seen part 4. If you've been following along, I apologize for that. I've been really busy. I haven't been able to do the editing or record these intros, but now I think I'm going to get back on track, and I should be pushing out the rest of this series fairly quickly. Now, if this is the first one of my videos in the Test Your Comic Book Grading Skills category that you've seen, welcome, thank you so much. Let me explain to you what we're going to be doing here. What we do is we take a look at video of the books when they were raw. These are books that were sent off to CGC. I took video of them before I sent them out when they were raw. And what we're going to do is look at that video, and we are going to assess the books for any damage, any flaws, anything that might impact the grade negatively. Then we're going to give our best guess as to what we think the grade should be. Then once we've done that, we are going to do the unboxing. We're going to unbox the books that we've looked at in these videos, and we're going to see what the actual grades CGC gave the books are. We do this so that we can practice our comic book grading skills, and if we're off, we can then go back and reassess the books when they were raw, so that we can learn what CGC was thinking, so that we can become better, more confident graders to CGC, so we get the grades we expect and we protect our investments. Now, one thing I'll mention, which is very clear to anybody with eyes and ears, I am not a professional grader. I am just a guy trying to learn more about grading, and I am taking you all along with me on this journey, so thank you for joining me. All right, that's enough of this intro. Let's go ahead and take a look at the books that we're going to be talking about today when they were raw. All right, first up, we have the Green Lantern Corps, issue number 201. This is a book that, because of its all-white cover, is really tough to get high grades in because it really shows off any kind of defects, similar to all-black covers. Now, there may be some dirt inside of the box right there. You might see a little bit, or that might just be bleed through from the advertisement or whatever that's on the inside of the cover. But in general, this book looks really super fantastic. I have to admit, it's a little bit difficult for me to determine on an all-white cover like this what is considered to be a flaw that would hurt the grade and what isn't a flaw that would hurt the grade. Personally, looking at the front of this particular book, I really don't see any flaws that I think would hurt the grade. So let's take a look at the back. Is there anything here on the back? Also predominantly white here on the back. Edge looks great, corner looks great. I don't see any kind of dirt or problems or anything at all. This appears to be a near perfect book. Now, you might be seeing tiny little things there. Maybe there in the corner. Maybe that little black there along the spine. Maybe those are little things that are going to take it out of the 9/8 category. But I think this book is so gorgeous, I have to just go with the 9/8 for this book. Next up, we have another copy of the Green Lantern Corps, issue number 201. This one is not quite as good as the first one. Let's see what kind of defects we can see here. Now, it looks like it might have similar kind of stuff. That corner looks a little more ripped up than I'd like for it to be. The wrap clearly isn't as good on this one as it was on the other one, but that's not going to hurt the grade. Going across the top here looks really good to me. There may be a little bit of yellowing along the edge there that I didn't see in the other book that might hurt the grade a little bit. But all in all, maybe that little mark there halfway down the spine. All in all, it looks really good. And all the stuff I'm pointing out is ticky-tack. That yellowing looks a little bit more yellow there when I pull back. And yeah, on the back here, compared to that first one, it does look a little bit more yellowed or tanned than that first copy. But the rest of this book looks really, really good. Yeah, I'm looking really hard for obvious flaws, of which I see none. I don't see, now that corner is a little angry, but I feel like I see a lot of corners that are like that these days, so I can't imagine it's going to hurt the grade that much. Wow. Okay, so this is a nice book. I'm going to go with a 9.6 on this book, just because it doesn't look as perfect as the other one. And then finally, we have Green Lantern issue number 51. According to the label from CGC, this is the first appearance of Kyle Rayner's new costume. So there you have it. This book is very dark, and so is more of what I'm familiar with, and should show us problems pretty clearly. It looks like there's a color-breaking spine tick right there. Could be in the art, but it does look like a color-breaking spine tick. There's a definite one right there. That's a nice, solid one. But all in all, it's a pretty good-looking spine. I definitely think it's out of the 9.8 category at this point. But it could still be possibly in the 9.6 category. Let's see, what else we got going on here? I mean, it looks really pretty good to me. Well, I don't see much by way of problems. But let's see here. What am I trying to find here? I saw something when I made this original video. There appears to be a crease, right through there, right through his cheek there. Make sure you keep an eye out for creases like that. That's a good size crease. And in my opinion, creases are the number one reason why people don't get the grades that they expected. They see the front of this book and they're like, this book looks perfect, and they just don't see the crease. Creases like that are really going to impact the grade negatively. So make sure that you're bouncing some bright light overhead right onto the cover of these books, because that will really help you find those creases. Because the rest of this book looks really, really great. Based on that crease and that crease alone, I think this book is going to get an 8.5. All right, so now you've had an opportunity to assess the next 3 books from this submission. You've looked at it. You've seen, does it have any flaws, any defects, anything that might impact the grade negatively? You have given your best guess as to what you think the grade should be. I have done the same, and I've shared that guess with all of you. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the books back from CGC and see what the actual grades are from CGC. Now, this box is already opened. I opened it a couple videos ago, but I haven't looked inside at all. I've had Octavio's help kind of organizing them a little bit, but I haven't looked at the grades. I haven't looked at the books at all, so I do not know what the next 3 books are going to be, but I am going to pull them out. 1, 2. It's always hard to do out of my peripheral. 1, 2, 3. Great. And I know what the back of them feels like, so I can go ahead and do that. Okay, great. So the first book that we are going to look at back from CGC today is Green Lantern 201. I love this book. I have a copy of this. I love this book so much. It's the, well, it doesn't say so on the, oh wait, it's on the front. It's the first appearance of Kilowog? Kilowog? Yeah, I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Anyways, this is a really, really nice book to have. I think he had more than one of these. Yes, there are 2 of these in here. So I have 2 different grades for this book. I have, I guess, either a 9.6 or a 9.8. This is just a sweet book to have in either of those grades. So let's really hope that one of those 2 grades was nailed. So here you go. Here's the results. Did it match yours? Okay, well, let's see if it matched mine. 9.6. Okay, great. So we're going to hope that this is the one that I thought was a 9.6 and not the one that I thought was a 9.8. But that's great. Whether or not, even if it was the one I thought a 9.8, that's disappointing to get a 9.6 when you were hoping for a 9.8. But it's within the realm of acceptability to be off by just 1 increment. At least it is for me. But of course, as always, you want to nail it. But this one is Yes. Okay, great. That's perfect. So I'm glad that they were next to each other. This is the other issue 201. Considering that one was a 9.6, we are hoping that I've guessed correctly and that this one is a 9.8. So let's give you an opportunity to see the result. Okay. Now you know the grade. Come on, 9.8. Come on, 9.8. 9.2. Oh, wow. Well, that's disappointing to me. That's disappointing to me. Once again, so I'm going to have to assume that this 9.6 here was the one that I thought was going to be a 9.8, and that this 9.2 here is the one that I thought was going to be a 9.6. And I was off by one increment in that one and 2 increments in this one, but I was off in the wrong direction, which is tricky and upsetting for me. As I mentioned before in other videos, I don't give 9.8s casually. The book basically really needs to look really, really perfect for me in order for me to be like, yeah, I think this is a 9.8 candidate, because it's so much easier for me to see any kind of flaw and be like, no, 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 it's not a 9.8, it's a 9.6. So to be off on both of these is disappointing to me. It might have something to do with the white cover. This might be an opportunity for me to really learn a lot and learn something about white covers. Generally, white covers hide defects better than like a solid black cover per se. And it's possible I'm just not as in tune as to really assess the defects on a cover that's white like this, that is just more difficult to see things like color breaks, so to speak. But that's too bad. They're still beautiful books, and they're still great books to have in this grade. But I don't want to be off that much, and I was off a bit. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity. If you were off as well, then, you know, do like I'm going to do. Go back and look at the books, the video that I did of the books raw, and see if you can't see something that I didn't see. And then finally, in today's video, we are going to be looking at Green Lantern Volume 3, issue number 51. I want to see like what's first appearance of Kyle Rayner's new costume. Okay, I need to wake up my iPad so that I can see what grade I gave it. Great. So this was Green Lantern 51. Let me find it on my list here. There it is. I guessed that it was going to be an 8.5. I would really like to get one of these right today. So let's see if I did. Keep in mind what grade you gave it. Let's see what CGC gave it. I usually don't root for an 8.5, but right now I'm rooting for an 8.5. So let me see, how'd I do? 9.0. Okay, so as always, I'm okay with that. This is a common miss for me. Oftentimes, if my guesses are off, they're off by 1 increment, and they're off by 1 increment down. If the grade from CGC is a 9.0, I guessed an 8.5, which is what happened in this instance, and I'm totally okay with that. Part of me wants to like start to be like, okay, well, if I think it's 8.5, oftentimes I'm wrong in the lower, so let me just start adding the 1 grade increment. And that's something I can do and something I might do for these videos, but for my own personal submissions, I'm always going to default to the lower grade because I want to protect myself and protect my expectations and get a higher grade than I was expecting. I also wonder, I'm starting to think, I wonder if it's CGC, and this is just me thinking out loud, there's no fact or true information behind this. I wonder if, you know, multiple graders look at these books. It's not just one person. It's at least 2. And if they're both way off from each other, a third one is called in to kind of like be the final kind of tiebreaker, so to speak. I wonder if one grader says it's an 8.5, the other one says it's a 9.0. They say, we're close enough. just give it the higher grade. So I wonder about that, but this is just me thinking out loud. I don't know. Tell me what you think about that down in the comments. There's no real way to know. CGC is never going to tell you exactly how they go about this process. They're going to give you the general overview. But also let me know down in the comments how you did on your guesses. Were you way off? Were you very surprised by the grades that these books got in these three examples? Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. As well, if you like these videos, likes are way appreciated by me, and they also signal to other people out in the YouTube world that this is content that they should be checking out. And if you haven't already subscribed and you like this content, you should be subscribing, because I've done a lot of these videos in the past. I'll be doing a lot more of them in the future, and I would really recommend you check them out. All right, as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.